This is our first webinar we're doing in a series of webinars. We're going to do one a month for the rest of 2024, just trying to resource all of you missionaries as you continue to develop partners. And some of that could be financially for prayer or for churches, what that could look like, and the new dynamics of the Global Methodist Church and all the things changing there. Anna has been hitting the ground running with that. If you've not met Anna yet, you will love to get to know her. She is full of energy. She is super passionate about churches and missions and WGM and has lots of ties to WGM throughout her whole life. So you'll just find somebody who's very like-minded to you, even if you haven't met her yet, and probably knows a lot of the same people you already know. But yeah, today Anna's going to go over that, church partnerships, and kind of what that could look like for you. So Anna, take us away.
Great. Thanks, Connor. Good morning, everybody. My name is Anna Adams. I serve as the Church and Camp Engagement Coordinator for WGM. I started back in September, or let's see, maybe it was August. I get my months right there. It's all kind of a blur because I was going through a lot of transition. But I've been with WGM for about 6 months. Like Connor said, I have kind of some family ties to WGM. My granddaddy served on the board, so I've known WGM since I was younger. So I want to go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to share my screen. And so bear with me just a second as I get this pulled up. All right, can you all see if I put this in full screen? Can you all see that? Great.
Looks good.
So, all right. So we want to just take a little bit of time to talk about church engagement, which is kind of an old but new initiative of WGM. Obviously, churches are kind of a staple in missions, and so we really need them to be on board. And so I just want to talk through what our new kind of church engagement looks like. Historically, and some of you may know this, we used to have a church relations department, and really church relations was kind of in charge of scheduling missionary speaking opportunities in the local church. And we still are happy to help with that, but we also wanted to kind of revamp what that looked like and help churches do missions better. You know, a lot of times it feels like they're just kind of thrown off the deep end of how to figure out how to do missions in the local church. And so that's kind of our goal with this department. So a few things that we're going to talk about today: the revamping of church engagement, the power of collaboration. What can WGM offer churches? That's really important. We really, when we started brainstorming this, wanted this to be a mutually beneficial relationship. So not only what can the church help WGM do, but what can WGM help the local church do as far as missions goes. I want to take some time later to talk about the Global Methodist Church and just the unique opportunity that we have there to partner with them and to help them as they are getting their feet on the ground and starting to look at their missions programs. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how to start a partnership and what you can offer, what we can offer, and help you as you are talking to churches, offer them as they're building their missions program. And then we'll take some time at the end just to do some questions and answers. So revamping church engagement, again, we want to help you get speaking opportunities, but we also want to be so much more than that. We want to help the church ultimately become sending churches. And so we're going to go through what that looks like. But as we were praying through this, one of the verses that stuck out and really hit home for us was, "He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply." And I've got my camera over the bottom of this. "Will multiply your," can somebody tell me what that word is? I see Connor trying, I think.
Sorry, my mouse was all messed up. Your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness.
Perfect. Thank you. I didn't want to butcher that. So yes, it was all about, whatever the local church can do, whatever you can do, even if you are a brand new church, how can we help you multiply your harvest and multiply what you're sowing to take the gospel to the ends of the world? Okay, so we kind of have 3 goals to reach new churches. Obviously, having new churches partner with WGM is a huge benefit. And so we are trying to reach out to churches who maybe have heard of us, but have never partnered with us before. We're also trying to kind of build some relationships that we've had in the past that have maybe fallen off our radar. We want to build relationships that are mutually beneficial. And so our goal is to shift the traditional paradigm from mere support to a symbiotic relationship. So instead of a church meeting a missionary and thinking, okay, here's somebody else that we're going to support, this is going to be, we're going to support them. How can we also say, well, we want to support you in your missions efforts? And how can it be a mutually benefiting relationship? Because ultimately, partnership is so important. We can do this together and we can go a lot further. So that's one of our goals. And then to help churches multiply their missions impact. And so again, that just goes back to, whatever you can do, whether you're a brand new church or you've been around for a while, whatever you are sowing, God can multiply that. And we want to help you do that. We want to help you think through what that looks like. So the power of collaboration and a paradigm shift. And again, this is something when we started building this program and thinking through this new initiative, it was what can we offer churches? Instead of them thinking, okay, again, we're going to support this missionary, we're going to support them through our prayers, we're going to support them financially, we are going to maybe go on a trip to visit them. We started thinking, how can we shift this paradigm to where they see us as a resource to help them too? And so after lots of prayer and collaboration and meetings and just talking through that, we've started to think through what that looks like. And so we've come up with some things that we would like to offer churches and what we think that can help them as they aim to multiply their missions impact. So one, printed resources, and I will see if I can share this, and I may have to minimize my screen, so bear with me. So one that we've come up with, and we have printed resources of this, is just a basic missions FAQ book. And it's just got basic questions that will kind of get the conversation started. How can we get our church involved in local and global missions? How many people do we need for a missions committee? How do we best train our mission team leaders? And so this is just a simple book that we've put together that are questions that we've heard people asking us. I have had the opportunity to go to several of the Global Methodist convening conferences, and a lot of times that's what I'm hearing is, well, how do we even know how to start our missions committee? Or we're not, they don't feel like they're quite there yet. So we want to say, okay, let us help you get started. Another resource we want to provide is coaching. So coaching to help think through all things. We've kind of developed a tier system, and what that looks like is maybe a church is doing missions really well, or maybe they haven't even started thinking about missions yet. And so there's kind of this wide range of where a church may be on our tier system of where they're at with their missions program. And so no matter what tier they're on, we want to be able to provide coaching to help them move to the next tier. So at the very basic level, a church may not even be thinking about missions. So we have developed a 30-day devotional, and it really just goes through missions in the Bible, a church's role in missions, and then individuals' role in missions. And we're asking them to, hey, if you can find five or 10 people in your church or your staff to go through this devotional together, 30 days, and you can start thinking about missions and what that looks like maybe in your church. And then you move up throughout the tier system, and maybe they're thinking about missions and they really want to be involved, but they just don't know how to yet. So we have partnered with Momentum Yes, and we're saying, please take this free course, go through it. It really helps you think through missions. And then at the end of that, we do some coaching calls to help them take the next step. Next step maybe would be mission trip planning or mission conference planning. And so a lot of churches, they want to do these things, but they're not quite sure how. They're not quite sure what's the first right step to take. And then shared values and goals. When we were first having these conversations, we were like, what sets WGM apart? What can we say? Well, we're a 100-plus-year-old missions organization. We've been around for a long time. We have expertise in certain areas. We wanted to kind of hit on our Wesleyan background. And so those are things that when you're talking to a church or when you maybe you're meeting with a pastor or a missions committee, we want to be able to say, here's things that you can point back to us so it doesn't fall on you. You can point back to us that we can offer them so that it is, again, a mutual relationship. So I want to take just a few minutes and talk about the Global Methodist Church. It is a very unique opportunity, and it is an opportunity for right now. So if you don't know, the Global Methodist Church is a new denomination that has come from the split of the United Methodist Church. And so it is growing rapidly, and they are really on fire. I've had the opportunity to be with them at several of their convening conferences, and they're just so passionate. They're so ready to hit the ground running. And the GMC aims to create a revitalized Methodist movement that focuses on evangelism, discipleship, and mission work. So this is at the core of who they are, missions work. And so in being able to talk with pastors and missions leaders at churches, we have been able to say, hey, we're World Gospel Mission. We've been around for a while. We have shared values and goals and things like that. And we're hearing a lot of different things. We're hearing this is exactly what we've been looking for. We're hearing we are so excited about missions, but we don't know how to get started. And so this is kind of where you and we come in to be able to say, we're here for such a time as this. And so we're really excited about the opportunity. And I'm going to see if I can get you all back up because I want to just take a time to talk and see if you all have had any experience with the Global Methodist Church. Has anybody had the opportunity to speak at a Global Methodist Church yet, or to maybe talk with a pastor or a missions leader from one of their churches? And it's totally okay if not.
And I think Dewberry United Methodist Church has probably become a global Methodist church. The correspondence I've had, they've changed missions coordinator. They have supported us for many, many years. And so she was asking that we send, to let them know what we were up to. And then I also try to send out a monthly update email to our partners. And so I said, I'll add your address to that as well so that she's getting something monthly. So.
Great. Anybody else?
I put together a packet of information about a mission and WGM and just some interesting things to read. And I went around and contacted, I actually stopped at just shy of 20, I think 18 global Methodist churches within driving distance of where I live. And I'd say of the ones that I stopped and seen, I saw 4 or 5 pastors, the rest of them, basically receptionists or staff members. And generally all but 1 or 2, very positive response. When we get back to them, they wanted some time to read and think about it and talk about it. So I just thought it was best if they could see me face to face. So I just dropped in unannounced and saw as many as I could see. And I got a bunch more to see. I just haven't had the opportunity to do so, but it was more positive than I thought. The discouraging part is it seems still a little bit hard to get in the door, even maybe to see a Bible study or a men's group or whatever, get a service, or they're kind of finding their way a little bit. So nobody was anxious to jump on that just yet, but I thought if I could break the ice and they knew who I was, maybe I'd have a better opportunity to get some face-to-face stuff later on.
Absolutely. That's great. Yeah. I think what I found is that they are super excited, even if they're not quite ready yet. I think it's so great that we're going ahead and having those conversations and introducing ourselves and making sure they know we're here to support you as you walk this out. And so I think that is a great opportunity too, for you to be able to point back to church engagement and say, okay, great. Have you, here is Anna Adams' contact information. She has some resources that might help you as you develop your mission strategy. One thing that we're working on right now is a prayer guide, how to just start having prayers for the nations. And so that's really, no matter where they're at kind of on that tier, whether they're not quite ready yet or they are, we want to be able to say we can support you in that. So that's great. Anybody else?
Well, I would say, since the great majority of my support had always come out of the United Methodist Church, and so many of those churches are now Global Methodist or have disaffiliated and become independent. So I look at it as a sign of who they were earlier, not just because they changed the sign on the door. They were already looking out, those that I was already engaged with. So I did hear another missionary, I'm not sure if she's on here on this seminar today, but she said that she contacted a church and they want to know if she was Global Methodist. So they already had a filter up for her. But yeah, I don't know that have thought about doing anything different because they're already connected with me. But yeah, I know some United Methodists in the past have only supported United Methodist, and it's those ones that don't have that avenue right now. Maybe they used a different, what's that other Methodist mission group that splintered off. Anyway, that they're going to already have a heart looking for. I think I liked your point of stressing the Wesleyan doctrine, because that certainly will get their attention.
Sure. That's great. Thank you. Yeah. One thing the Global Methodist Church is doing as a whole, they are not, they're going to be the church is going to be able to decide what missions organizations they support and partner with. So instead of like the United Methodist Church, where they said, here's who we're going to partner with and here's the missionaries that you're going to support, they're leaving that up to the churches. So there really is a huge opportunity. I had a missionary that was able to come down and stay. I'm in Alabama, and he was able to come down and stay with me. And he just took the days to go to churches, Global Methodist churches that were in the area. It's like you said, Mr. Randy, that FaceTime, that just let me walk in the door, introduce myself, and he had a really positive response. And so I was really encouraged by that. So I think the opportunity is for now. And so we're excited to be able to kind of help you think through what this looks like. So again, yes, I think this is a great opportunity. I've put their website down here, and you can go to globalmethodist.org. They originally had a directory of all the churches. I think they've taken that down. I'm not sure if it's because so many are joining, but they've taken that down, and now you just have to search by district. So I would encourage you to get on their website, start looking at churches that are in your area, and maybe just start calling them, visiting if you can. I'm happy to send you those resources if you would like them. But that is right now one of the biggest opportunities that I see for church partnerships. So how can church engagement help you? One thing that we want to be able to do is, if you meet with a church that says, we're not quite ready to support financially, or whatever it is, we want you to be able to point back to us so that we can help you, whether that's getting them their resources, or if they say, we haven't even started thinking about missions yet, we'd love to be able to follow up and nurture that relationship and help them do that. Another idea that we talked about is, if you have a church that says, yes, we're going to partner with you financially, we want to help you be able to foster that relationship after they say yes. So if you are going to reach out to a church, what I would say, obviously, we want to do the introduction and relationship building. That has been so important. And what I'm seeing is they just want to be able to talk to people that kind of know what they're going through. They want to be able to have the discussions that maybe they felt like they haven't had answered or been able to talk about in the past with missions. And then we want to move into that. If they're open to it, we want to be able to say, okay, so where can we place you on this tier? You know, you want to do missions, but you don't know how to think about it, or maybe you're doing missions really well. We still have resources that we want to be able to provide you. And then what we have found, and I'm sure so many of you know this, the ongoing support is so important. The ongoing communication, they love that. I had a church that kind of partnered with us, and that was what they wanted to know. They were like, can we actually see this missionary that we're supporting? And I was like, yes, we would love to be able to send them to speak at your church or to send you regular, maybe video updates or newsletters. And so they're really excited about that. So those are ways that we can help you as you are talking to churches. Even if you walk away and they say, we're not quite ready to partner financially, please don't feel discouraged. If you send me that contact information, I'd be happy to follow up and just say, hey, we heard you had a conversation with this person. Thank you for taking time to meet with them. If there's anything we can do in the meantime to help you build your missions program, we would love to be able to do that. So that's kind of how we're envisioning coming alongside you. We want this to be a team effort. And we know that it feels like churches, the layout is just so different post-COVID. But there's a lot of exciting opportunities. So we're really excited. I grew up, and one of the reasons that I kind of had this passion for the local church, when I grew up, we had missionaries in our churches and in my church all the time. And I was so excited. It was just so neat to be able to be face to face with them. So I am super just passionate about getting missionaries in the local church and having the local church involved in missions. So we want to be able to do this together. We know that this is not going to be a super fast. It's going to be very, very, I don't know the right word. It's just going to be a process as the Global Methodist Church especially starts growing and developing. They have their first general conference in September. And so I think in between now and then, there's going to be a lot of churches thinking through their missions programs and things like that. So I would encourage you to start reaching out to these Global Methodist churches and just building those relationships, introducing them to WGM and to, again, our shared values and our shared commitments. We are one of, I want to say, 5 missions organizations that the Global Methodist Church has officially partnered with. And so they have been very selective in who they are, kind of partnering with and having those relationships with. And so that's a huge blessing to us, to World Gospel Mission, that they have chosen to kind of say, yes, we believe in World Gospel Mission and who they are and what they're doing. So I would encourage you to, start making contacts with them. Reach out to me if you need me to help foster those relationships, or if you want some resources on how to talk to them or what comes next. We have printed resources and PDF resources that we'd love to be able to send you if you want them and desire to be able to send them onto the church. So I think that is kind of the basis of what we're trying to do in church engagement. Again, it is so much more than just trying to get a missionary in to speak, even though we think that is so valuable and we're so happy to help you do that. But we want them to be able to say, hey, they're willing to help us build our missions program. This is going to be a mutually beneficial relationship. And so that is kind of what we're doing. I love this proverb, and I think it's so important for right now, and it just really speaks to what we're trying to do. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so I think that is really important. And I think it's so important that we're kind of hitting on that with the churches too, to say, you don't have to do this by yourself. We can support you as you build and grow and think through what missions looks like at your church. So that is the presentation part. I want to share our website really quickly. And it's, again, it's just another resource that if you're emailing with somebody, they can quickly our website, see a little bit more of what this initiative looks like and what it aims to do. And so there's just some very entry level information of what this looks like. But then they can click here, start the conversation today, and that will immediately get pushed to me, and I'll be able to follow up and have a conversation and say, hey, what does your church, what are you needing? Well, that is kind of the gist of what we're trying to do. Again, it's very early stages. I'm super excited. I think there's a ton of opportunity, and really excited to be able to work with you as you have communication with churches or missions pastors or whoever about WGM and about coming alongside you and supporting you. And so if there's anything I can do to help, I would love to be able to offer what little expertise I have, but I'm happy to help however I can. I'm also, as some of you are aware, I'm working with camps too. I grew up in camp meeting, and so I love camp meeting, and just being able to partner with them too. I actually have a camp that has supported us, WGM, for a long time, and they are actively trying to send a missions team every summer from their camp. And so there's a lot of opportunity there too. So I am happy to help however I can. And that is what Church Engagement is aiming to do. So any more questions or ideas or anything before I know we're ending kind of short, but I don't guess that's necessarily a bad thing. All right. Well, that is what we have for today. I appreciate you all taking time out of your day to hop on and kind of hear about church engagement, what we're aiming to do at WGM. And again, if you want to talk more, feel free to call me, text me, message me on Teams or email. And I love having conversations about how we can help the local church do missions better. So I am available if you need me.